Alright, this time we're gonna talk about defense. And it doesn't mean you always have to deal with the frontal attacks. Sometimes it can be coming from the side. And if you don't pick a right moment to do so, you might end up with the silver sitting on this square for the rest of the end game, and it's bad because it acts like a wall, right? And this is a good example. Next gold drop right here is going to be very strong because it's a threat maze, so it's a good idea to drop back with the silver like this so you can create escape route to the right. And you can also push this edge pawn somewhere to go further, and it's going to be hard for white to keep chasing with only two pieces. Okay, next one. Generals are not the only pieces for you to move, and sometimes developing pawns are a good idea. And it's possible for white to develop the knight or even silver to focus on the edge or even the third file. So it's a good idea for you to develop the pawn. It also leaves you with the possibility of a silver crown, for example, like this. You can go to the right to fortify your defense, whereas his freedom is severely restricted. Alright, next one. This position also represents a similar idea like a previous version. Here, the pawn exchange is done, and his rook is on the ideal position, but what if you can force him to waste this pawn? That's great, right? And this move is great for doing that. If he does nothing, silver develops to target this pawn. So in order for white to prevent this from happening, he has to drop a pawn right here to block this silver. Now you are successfully forcing him to waste this pawn, and there is no further development, and this silver is protecting the square really well. And what you're going to do next would be, for example, like this, and you can even go further like that, like this, and you can go for Anaguma Castle if you want. So that's going to be great, and your castle is going to be more flexible. And again, his freedom is kind of limited, so you're going to be better. Okay, next one. This looks like a reversed position of static rook, right? But it can happen in double ranging rook matches. Here it's obvious that this silver is under the attack, right? If you do nothing, your king will be checkmated, or at least this silver will be taken. So you have to do something, but this is not good enough because he can still take this silver, and when gold recaptures, this silver drop is great. If you take it, you will lose the gold, and it's really a dangerous position. Even if king runs, he can drop a pawn right here. King runs, and still you will lose the gold, right? But if you drop a gold right here, it's going to be different. If he takes the silver, gold recaptures to fight back. Now this gold is attacking this dragon, so he has no choice but to drop back with the dragon. So now you successfully defend this square. Alright, next one. This may not seem a big deal, but if you miss this chance, he can take the advantage. If you play carelessly, he can just push this pawn, and he can develop this silver like this. And then he can also develop this knight to pile up on this square. So it's going to be very strong. So before this happens, you can do something. Instead of doing something else, you can push this pawn to prevent this pawn from going further, right? And he can also develop this edge pawn to activate this bishop, but then you can move forward with this guard. Bishop develops and pawn push again, and after this silver develops, your silver also develops. Now your defense is way better and it's more strong against the frontal attack, right? And it's also possible for you to develop this silver even further to harass this rook, because there is no good square for this rook to go to, right? So sometimes it's a good idea to develop your Kinmuso castle like Yagura. Alright, that's all for this video. To be honest, once opposing pieces reach your generals, Kinmuso can be very vulnerable sometimes for its nature. So you need to be able to slow him down just like what I demonstrated. I hope you enjoyed this and thanks for your support. Bye.